Hello everybody, this is Big Man Junior here and welcome to part 2 of my world tour. If you didn't see the first video that I posted about a week ago, I basically toured my house in my survivor world, which I'm in right now. And in this video, I'm going to be touring the rest of my world. Stuff that I've built that is not my house. So let's get right into it, shall we? And I think I'm gonna start with this little area within this cobblestone wall here. This is where everything started in this world. This clump of chests and stuff right here is basically my starter kit. There are some items in these chests that have not been moved since the very beginning of my world. I've got this old cow pen here. It's got one cow left in it. Got some sugarcane. I put a cactus here that I throw stuff into that I don't need. And I have this cobblestone structure right here, which doesn't have a purpose, but it leads down into this skylit room, which I actually quite like. And this for the longest time didn't have a purpose, but technically it does now, because I've been growing some vines down here. And I would also come through here and down here to enchant my tools and use the anvil. This is all pretty old stuff. I built this in the first days of my world. So coming down here is my tree farm, and I still use this sometimes. I haven't in a long time, but I built this on like the second day of my world, and it's still very useful. It's just oak trees. This is an old village, and I came through and I just decorated it a little bit. I added a little pond and rejigged the pathways to make them look a little nicer. There are no villagers left here. I think I've moved them, or they've despawned. So yeah, this gives you a pretty good view of the starting area. This is basically where I lived for the first days of my world. I've got a cave down there that I used to mine in, and I have a Nether Portal here, which I don't really use anymore, but I decorated it a little bit just so it looks a little nicer. So yeah, that's my starting area. It's right by my house. Going through this field here, we come to a little fishing dock kind of thing. I really like this build. I just built it one day because I just got the idea randomly, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. We just got some crates of some pickles and some barrels here, and I really like this staircase going up to it, and we come inside. Very simple. It was kind of hard to decorate because it is mostly glass, and you can't really have much stuff like up against glass windows because it looks kind of weird in my opinion, but yeah, pretty nice. And we got our fishing rod, little fishing deck, and we fish in the fishing river. I don't really use this a whole lot because I don't fish in Minecraft that much, but I do quite like it here. It just fills up the space, you know, because this was just a boring old desert. Speaking of the desert, we've got a desert temple here that I kind of made to look like it kind of fell in and sort of crumbled over time. And next to it is my villager trading hall, which has been cut in half, and I actually intend to tear the rest of it down because you might be able to tell I was going to fill each of these individual things with villagers. I just didn't. I don't use villagers that much in Minecraft. So I'm going to put these guys somewhere else because there's only 3 of them, and I'm going to tear this down. Now over here, I have a sunflower field. I actually made a video of me building this. This used to just be a really sad looking patch of sunflowers, because I was trying to just plant them out and expand them slowly across the plains, but it looks so much better since I like properly terraformed it and put all the sunflowers, and this tree in the middle just brings it all together. This is easily my favorite view of it. And the path going through just looks so pretty, in my opinion. Now heading back towards home now. Well, that was pretty close to home, but this is even closer. I showed this off in the last video, but I didn't really show it in great detail. This is my office building, and I also should show you this. This is kind of like a tower I built to kind of look like sort of, you know, speakers, like it would announce things across my world. I don't know, I just thought it was cool, and I built it next to my office building, which is a replica of the office building from the show The Office. Like I mentioned, big fan of that show, and I built it in my world. I've kind of put some moss into it to make it look a little old and unused, because it is. But the inside just looks like this. So I was gonna fill the floor in here, but I didn't. And so I just put some scaffolding down, and I put some armor stands with some different clothes and stuff to make them look like workers. Like this place is kind of under development still. And I put a sign here, coming December 2002. That is a very obscure reference in the show. I doubt many fans will even understand that. So yeah, this is the inside of my office building. It's not too exciting, but I like the way it looks from the outside. Just kind of towers over everything. Sleep. I'm kind of flying all over the place, but that's because everything I'm showing is all over the place. Behind my big greenhouse here is my Nether Portal room. So like I mentioned, I had a portal back there, but I built a dedicated room for it, and I really like this. I like the blocks that I chose. I think they look pretty nice, and I've got some armor stands, so I can put some gold armor on before I head into the nether so the piglins won't kill me. I might as well show you my nether while I'm here. So coming through the portal, we come into an area filled with chickens and sheep, because they've all come through from the overworld and they just live here now. But I built this very small tunnel just out of crimson stuff. I quite like it. I have a ladder here that goes up to the nether roof, and the staircase just goes down to my other portal. Oh gosh, this place is riddled with ghasts. It's so dangerous. I really got to do something about it. So yeah, I have another nether portal right there, and beyond that is a tunnel that takes me out to more nether, and there's a bunch of spruce down there. I was going to cover most of the nether with spruce planks to kind of try and create a floor. That ended up being a pretty big project, and I just don't really care enough about it to do it. So there are some spruce blocks down there. But yeah, all of that's kind of messed up from ghasts, unfortunately. But yeah, there's my nether and my nether hub. Over here is a sheep in a minecart, and the minecart actually takes you along a railway. I will fly because it's faster for the sake of the video. I built a little railway that takes you to another village that I terraformed a little bit. I kind of had a specific style for the terrain in mind. I wanted it to be really flat and pristine and kind of harsh and cornered. I guess it kind of worked, and I actually had an idea of building like a second base out here that was kind of in the sky overlooking the village, and I would bring my villagers over here. I don't think I'm gonna do that, but I might bring some villagers over here because this village is pretty empty. Right over here though is a pretty interesting little build. This is Stampy Longheads. Stampy Longnose? Stampy Longhead? Which one is it? Anyway, Stampy, a lot of people probably know who he is. I built his house from his world in my world. This is an exact replica. I built this from around the time that he ended his Lovely World series, which wasn't too long ago. But yeah, I just thought it would be kind of cool to build his house, or the inside of his house, you know, his bedroom in my world. I didn't do the balcony. I should have done the balcony. I might still do the balcony, but this is kind of cool. Oh, and over here is another little fishing hut slash cabin that I built. I really like this. There are a few areas in my world that are they just have this really nice aesthetic about them, and this was one of them. It's just a small section of plains biome surrounded by tall forest and separated by a river. I just thought it looked really nice, and I just had to put a little cabin right in the middle of it. And I got some rocks around it as well, just to add a bit more to it. The inside isn't super exciting. I've got a snowman in here for some reason. I collect snow from him. I've got my fishing rod. This is actually this is a good fishing rod. So I do sometimes come out here to fish, like really occasionally, but I often just sleep in here if I'm in the area. It's actually inspired by an image I saw. I can put it up on the screen. The actual build is inspired. But yeah, I really quite like this. I guess this would count as a build as well. This entire expanse of water. This is not a natural lake. I completely dug out a section of plains biome here, and I just filled it with water. As you can see, it's not that deep. But I didn't really like the terrain around here. I don't really know why, but yeah, I was just gonna dig it out and leave it. But I decided to turn it into a lake to try and make it look a bit nicer. I called it Big Man's Lake. It's a man-made lake. I think it looks alright, and I planted this dark oak forest back here, which I think looks a lot like an actual dark oak forest that would generate. I think it's pretty cool. It just improves the look of the world a little bit. And I tried building some stony shores along here because I quite like that biome, but it didn't really work because it's not big enough. And right over here next to the lake is an ideas room. So I built this for the purpose of putting signs in there and writing ideas for builds and stuff on them. I did write a lot of ideas, but I have done very few of them, and I kind of write ideas down in a different place now, which is in real life. So this place isn't really useful, but I still really like it. I love this. Just I put a bunch of just random blocks all over the place. I love how this looks. It looks like weirdly very Minecrafty in my opinion. Just having all these different blocks just next to each other. Just random. I really like it. I think it looks really nice. It's a pretty old school style build, I think. It just has that kind of energy. So yeah, that's an ideas room. I like it a lot. Okay, so going up this path now takes us to two things. I'll show this first. This is the way to get down to a big cave that I have, and I'm currently building kind of like a mining operation down in that cave. I haven't actually started, but I will. And I have a few decorations around here. I'm going to put some more decorations as well. I just got some ores. I've got some core samples here, which I thought was a really cool idea to have displayed. And this little minecart that sheep always get stuck in, this takes me down a minecart rail that I've decorated quite a bit. I really like it. It takes me down to the cave that I'm going to be building in. And I plan to have like rails, minecart tracks, and walkways. It's just going to be cool. I really like it. I've got an amethyst geode right there in that wall, which looks really nice. And I've got even more cave all the way down here. It is a very big cave. I doubt I will build in it, in all of it, but I've wanted to build like a mining operation in a cave for a long time, and I'm finally getting around to doing it. But so far I've done the minecart track, and I really like how it turned out. Sleep. And the second thing that's over here, another little area like I mentioned. It's an area of my world that I just really like the look of. It's a small bit of plains biome separated by a river against a forest, like the other one back there actually. But it just looks really nice, and I wanted to kind of make it look even nicer than it was. just to kind of add something special to it. So I've got this bridge here, and it takes us here to Alphabetia National Park. That's just a random name I came up with. I like the sound of it. I've got an About This Park book that tells you about the park. But basically, I just made this area look a little nicer. I've got a pond and a tree here. I've got some chickens here in a little chicken pen. This is a cabin. I built this a pretty long time before I worked on the rest of the park. I've got a nice little wheat farm here. Got some logs piled up here. Got a cauldron around the back, and I actually have a villager living here. I trade with him for emeralds. I actually trade with him quite a bit. He's the one villager that I trade with regularly in this world, and he kind of takes care of this whole park, and he makes home in this cabin. This is the inside. It looks pretty basic. We've got a little doggy here. He's pretty cute, and we've got a bed, smoker, little lectern for work that the villager might do. Oh yeah, I dumped a bunch of stuff in these chests because I have way too much cactus, so I just dumped it here. So that's the cabin of Alphabetia National Park. I just kind of think it's neat, adds a little life to the world. Heading back over to the desert now, mainly because it's raining and that's annoying. We've got something secret in this in the side of this mound here. We've got a cave. Maybe this cave was home to a long lost traveler of this world, long before I was here. Alright, back over here. That is kind of like, I was trying to build a, what is it? The Parthenon. The Greek Parthenon. I was trying to build that. I started building it a long time ago. I still haven't finished. It's pretty small. I don't think I'll ever have a use for it. But it's there, and I guess it kind of looks cool. I could finish it. But this over here, this does actually have a use. This is one of my favorite little builds in this world that I did. It's quite a lot different to the rest of my world, but I call it Dropper. And basically, I was actually inspired to build this because my friend gifted me a Google Nest, which is basically like, you know, an Alexa. You say, "Hey Google," and then you ask it a question and it'll tell you the answer. And I kind of wanted to build my own version of that in Minecraft, so I called it Hey Dropper. I think it's pretty cool. I really like how it turned out. I wanted it to look kind of like an old school piece of technology, but it actually does work. I'm not the best at redstone, so it's pretty simple, but you've got some questions. Hey Dropper, tell me a fun fact. And you give it to it, and it gives you the answer back. Woolly mammoths went extinct about 1,000 years after the Egyptians built the Great Pyramid. Did you know that? I sure did, because I wrote all the answers to make this thing work. I really like this. I think it's pretty cool. You can ask it to tell you a joke, and it'll tell you a joke. How do you make holy water? You boil the hell out of it. It's really simple, but I really like it. It's very unique, I think, but I just love ideas like these that are just kind of out of the ordinary. I think I have showed you all of the builds that are sort of surrounding my house and my home area, so I might show you the few that are sort of further away. So this pathway, this goes all the way through quite a few biomes, but it eventually will take us out to my end portal, which is right here. This is where my stronghold is in my world, and this little outpost here is where I sleep before I head to the end. I have a chest here for any items I might want to put away before I head to the end, because it can be dangerous. And I have a little pen here for my horse, because I usually come out here by horse. I don't really fly around my world a whole much. I like to go on foot, and I don't think I'll bother showing you my stronghold because it is literally just a stronghold, and my end dimension is, you know, basically empty as well, so there's no real point in me showing you that. Over here in the ocean, there's another little something something. There's a tiny little island all on its own, and there's this little cave in the side of this island with a book in it, some very interesting stuff in it, and we've just got some rocks and an old fireplace, and most chillingly, a skull. Another sign of life before me in this world, perhaps. Another lost traveler. Before I finish up the video, because I think I have shown you almost everything in my world now, there is just one more thing that I think you guys should see. All the way up in the coldest peaks of this mountain. A little house. We've got some crops that have failed. An empty pen. Water that's frozen up. And the house itself, it's gone through some wear and tear. The windows are dirty. There are papers lying on the floor. The roof has fallen in. Another sign, someone who is no longer in this world. Ooh, all very mysterious and spooky. Alright, I think that about wraps it up. I think that's everything in my world. If you didn't see my tour of my house, totally go and watch that video. It's on my channel. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. It would really help me out. I'm pretty close to 1,000 subscribers, which would be really awesome to hit. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed seeing all the builds in my world that I have worked on over the past 1.5 years. Anyway, again, thanks for watching, and see you in the next Big Man Jr.'s Minecraft video. Woo!